A young woman, eating grass by the roadside, hiding a secret that would shock the world. This is Dark Voices, and today, we unravel a mystery that will leave you speechless. Raphael Carter was a well-known defense attorney, a champion of the oppressed. His life revolved solely around courtrooms and hearings. He cared little for anything outside of work, but everything changed the day he saw a young woman on the side of the road, eating grass. What shook him more than her disturbing state was the birthmark on her shoulder. It was identical to the mark of the only daughter of one of the wealthiest families in the American South, missing for over a year. Could this be the missing heiress, lost for nearly 2 decades? Stay with Dark Voices as we dive deeper into this chilling tale. "Where did you get this mark?" he asked, barely able to believe what he was seeing. "Tell me, Erica, where did you get this? Why do you have it?" Erica froze. She looked completely stunned and swallowed hard. I don't know," she stammered, her voice trembling. "You don't remember? Were you a child when you got it? Were you in an accident?" Raphael's questions came rapidly, his emotions beginning to spill from his chest. Erica only shook her head, unsure of what to say. "I don't remember anything." Her world was dark. The 4 corners of that dilapidated room were all she knew. Every time she opened her eyes, the cracked ceiling above greeted her. First thing in the morning, last thing at night. When she spoke, dust entered her mouth. The walls were old, clawed, scarred, remnants of a desperate escape, maybe even her own. She didn't know. She had no idea how many days, weeks, months, or years had passed since she'd been imprisoned there. Time became like smoke, vanishing into air. No watch, no calendar, not even sunlight to measure the hours. That room was her entire world. In one corner stood a broken mirror. She looked at herself sometimes, rarely, but every time she did, she didn't recognize the reflection. Hollow eyes, sallow skin, hair long and disheveled, wild from neglect. She couldn't remember what she looked like when she was happy, when she was free, when she was a child. She remembered only that she was happy before the room. She didn't know what happened to her or how she got there. But she always held on to one hope, that one day the door would swing open, and light would pour in. A voice would call out, "Erica, let's go. You're free now." But every day, silence answered instead. At night, she curled in a corner, hugging herself, muffling her sobs with trembling palms. Even in captivity, she had learned to fear noise. Her only nightly wish was simple, just once, let her escape. Let her see the sky. Not the crumbling ceiling, but the real sky. The one they said was blue. She had forgotten what birds looked like. She heard their songs through a narrow crack in the steel window, but never saw them. Sometimes she wondered, what do trees look like? Are leaves still green? She wanted to feel the wind, not the foul, stagnant air of the room, but wind that brushed skin like the embrace of freedom. She wanted to see the world, people's smiles, the buzz of traffic, the sunlight that didn't blind or burn. But all she had were dreams. Dreams that reality drowned day after day. "I don't want to die here," she whispered to the wall, her voice weak. "I want to live. I want to feel light. Just once." But there was no hope. She didn't know anything about the outside world. That room was her earth. She didn't know how to interact, how to live. What was normal? What was life supposed to be? All she knew was the cracked ceiling, the worn-out mat, the tiny shaft of light that slipped through the wall every noon. That beam of light reminded her there was something beyond the darkness. Freedom, but she could only watch it. Her chains kept her from even reaching the sunbeam. They were heavy, tight, painful. They left grooves on her skin. Then, a knock on the door. It opened slowly. In walked Ms. Nancy, the elderly woman who was her only human contact. She wasn't a threat. In fact, she might have been Erica's only ally. She wasn't sure if Nancy was a guard who pitied her or someone who actually cared. "Eat, child," Nancy said softly, her voice warm. "You haven't eaten all day." Erica looked at the tray in her hands, old rice, a spoonful of meat, a glass of water. She didn't speak. Ms. Nancy placed the tray beside her and sat on the edge of the old mattress. Gently, she lifted the spoon and fed Erica, who was too used to being fed to resist. How could she eat on her own with chains restricting her hands? She chewed quietly. With every bite, Nancy felt a growing weight in her chest. She stared at the girl's innocent face, still smooth despite the dirt around her. Her eyes were blank, devoid of knowledge, like a child who knew nothing of the world's evil. "Is it good?" she asked, trying to smile. Erica nodded slightly, still silent, but respectful. She wasn't rude. Despite everything she'd endured, she wasn't a lost soul, just someone who had never been allowed to live a normal life. Nancy stroked her hair, full of motherly affection. "I'm sorry, child," she whispered. "If only I could get you out now, but I can't fight them. I can't save you. I pray to God every day. He will save you. He will." Erica didn't understand. She didn't know who God was. She didn't know what salvation meant. All she knew was that she didn't want to live in the dark. She didn't want to wake up to chains anymore. She didn't want her only glimpse of light to come from a crack in the wall. She didn't want to see the faces of those who kidnapped her ever again. But in every gentle touch and forced smile Nancy gave her, Erica felt a sliver of hope. That maybe, just maybe, the world hadn't fully abandoned her. Nancy, too, was breaking inside. Erica was innocent, clueless about the evil surrounding her. And in every silent prayer as she combed the girl's hair, Nancy begged, "I hope you get out, child. I hope your story doesn't end here." The hallway was dark as Nancy slowly stepped out of Erica's room. She carried the now empty tray. "Thank you," Erica had whispered earlier. Just 2 simple words, but enough to shatter Nancy's heart. Erica rarely spoke, and for her to express gratitude, Nancy could feel the girl's trust. As Nancy walked down the long hallway, she overheard muffled voices, familiar ones, men from the group who had kidnapped Erica, hired thugs, now guards of that hellish room. She moved quietly toward the wall, pressed her back against it, and listened. "Dude, you think the guy who ordered this even cares anymore? It's been months since we last heard anything." "Yeah, man. No more payment, no more instructions. Our contact said to just let it be. Do what we want." "Well, then why don't we enjoy her? It's a waste, man. She's still fresh, pale, innocent. We haven't had fun in a long time." Nancy felt like the heavens and earth crashed on her. Her throat went dry. Her hands trembled. The tray in her grip began to shake. In her panic, she bumped into a wooden beam. It fell with a loud crash. The hallway fell silent. "What was that?" one of the men shouted. "Someone there." Nancy stumbled backward. Her heart raced. She had no choice but to hide. Quickly, she slipped into an open room and gently shut the door, leaving a narrow gap to peek through. "Maybe it was just that stray cat," one of them said. "Make sure no one's out here. Maybe it was the old lady. You know, she's not supposed to meddle. Relax. Even if it was her, she won't snitch. She's too scared." Nancy's chest tightened even more. But it wasn't fear that heated her eyes now. It was rage. Deep, seething hatred. She would never allow them to touch Erica. She would not let these monsters destroy what little dignity the girl had left. She had cared for Erica for so long. That girl was like her own daughter now. More than ever, Nancy knew she had to act. While the men laughed again and resumed their filthy discussion, Nancy lifted her gaze. She wiped away her tears. She buried her fear. In her mind, the decision was clear. She would never let their plan succeed, even if it cost her life. That night was quiet. Only the faint chirping of crickets and the rustle of wind against broken windows filled the air of that abandoned building. Inside the dark and filthy room, Erica slept soundly, not because she felt safe, but because she was exhausted from fighting every night. Then a faint sound stirred her. Her eyes fluttered open, still adjusting to a sudden light coming from a small flashlight. She gasped, heart racing. She feared it might be one of the men who watched her from the shadows. "Erica, wake up, sweetheart." "It's me." The old woman revealed her face. "Nancy." Her hand shook as she held a bundle of keys. "Miss Nancy," Erica's voice was faint. "What are you doing?" Nancy stepped forward and began unlocking the chains around her wrists and ankles. Metal clinked with every release. Nancy's hands trembled, each key turn echoing in the silence of the night. "I'm getting you out of here," she whispered, still focused on the final lock. "Don't ask questions. There's no time, but don't be afraid. I gave the guards sleeping pills. They're out cold now, but we have to go before they wake up." At last, the chains were off. For the first time in what felt like a lifetime, Erica could raise her arms, free of weight, free of metal. Tears welled in her eyes as she looked at Nancy. "What do I do? Where do I go? I don't know what's out there." Nancy stroked her hair like she always did when Erica was scared. "I know, child, but this is your chance. Don't waste it. Go live your life out there. You'll see the clouds, the sun, the grass, the birds, all the things you've dreamed of. Come with me," Erica pleaded. "We can escape together." Nancy shook her head. "I can't, sweetheart. If I disappear now, they'll know I helped you. They might come after you. It's safer if I stay behind." Nancy gently touched her lips with a finger. "What matters now is that you leave. You live. You start over. Be free for me." Erica couldn't hold back the tears anymore. Her whole body shook with emotion. Fear, joy, sorrow. "I love you, child," Nancy whispered. "Always remember that. You are like a daughter to me." Erica embraced her tightly. She didn't want to let go. Then they heard faint rustling from the hallway. Nancy turned and gently pushed Erica toward a small hidden door at the back of the building. A secret passage only she knew. "Go. Hurry. Don't look back. Don't stop. Run until you're far away. Don't ever come back, Erica. This is your only chance." Erica nodded, crying. Her feet, so used to cold concrete, now moved for freedom. She slipped through the narrow opening. It was cramped, filthy, but it was the way out. With every step, her heartbeat quickened. Her breathing deepened. Then she felt it. Fresh, cool air. She reached the outer fence, climbed it. Her palms bled. Her knees wobbled. She jumped. For the first time in so long, she felt grass beneath her feet. She was free. Back in the room that was once her prison, Nancy stood in the dark, holding back tears. "I'm sorry, child," she whispered. "May you find freedom for the rest of your life." Erica kept running. She didn't know where to go. Only that she had to get away. Just like Nancy told her, she had to escape that place. Escape the darkness, the fear, the hungry eyes of those men. Her feet hurt. Her skin was scratched by thorns. Her arms bled. Her knees were raw. But there was no time to feel pain. All that mattered was to keep going. Eventually, the sun rose. Its first rays kissed her face. Erica stopped, panting, covered in sweat, barely able to walk. She sat by the roadside in the tall grass, finally too weak to move. She was starving. She hadn't eaten properly in days. There was no one in sight. No help, no Nancy. She didn't know where she was. But one thing was clear. This was the outside world. The one she once thought was just a dream. She looked around. Green fields, distant trees, a breeze that smelled different, real. To someone like her, who had lived in darkness so long, the view felt like heaven. Tired, but smiling faintly, she saw the orange sky for the first time. She saw clouds that moved, a sun that wasn't peeking through a crack, but whole, bright, and warm. She breathed for a few minutes, trying to gather strength. Then she stood and walked slowly, unsure, limping, every step heavy. But she pressed on. She reached the edge of another road. It was wide, bustling with vehicles she didn't recognize. Loud sounds she'd never heard before. She stepped back in fear. To her, the cars were monsters, huge and roaring, moving fast. She hid in the grass, shaking. She stayed there until nightfall. Her stomach cried out. Her body twisted in pain. She looked around. Still no one. No food, no water. Driven by hunger, she picked some grass and ate it. It tasted awful, bitter, rough, sharp against her throat. But the hunger was unbearable. As she chewed, she broke down, sobbing by the roadside. Then, a car stopped. A sleek black vehicle pulled up in front of her. Her heart pounded. She froze, grass still in her mouth. The door slowly opened. A tall man in black stepped out. She struggled to stand. Her knees shook, her body weak. But before she could fully rise, her vision blurred. Sound faded. The world spun. Then everything went dark. The man stared at her, stunned. She collapsed before him, a thin, filthy, wounded girl, completely unconscious. Her clothes looked like rags. Her skin was bruised and scarred. Raphael Carter couldn't believe his eyes. He knelt beside her, touched the back of his hand to her nose. She was still breathing, but barely. No one else was around. He thought of the hospital, but it was too far. She might not survive the trip. He had no choice. Carefully, he lifted her in his arms. She was light, feverish. "I'll save you," he whispered. He placed her in the back of his car and drove. In under 30 minutes, they reached his ancestral home, far from the city. Quiet, safe. As soon as he opened the gate, his longtime housekeeper, Florence, rushed out. "Raphael, what happened? Who is that girl?" "She's hurt, unconscious. I found her by the road. I didn't take her to the hospital. It's too far. Please help me." Florence's face went pale. She gently touched the girl's cheek. "My God, what happened to this poor child?" Raphael carried the unconscious girl into one of the guest rooms, with Florence following closely behind. The other household staff and driver who had been nearby stood frozen in shock. After placing her on the bed, Florence immediately went to work cleaning her wounds, wiping off the dirt, applying ointments, and changing her into a soft old cotton dress. As Raphael watched the scene unfold, he let out a heavy sigh. "Thank you, Florence. I honestly don't know what I would have done without you." Florence looked at him with sorrowful, knowing eyes. "This girl doesn't look like she was just abandoned. It seems like she was running away from something," she said gently. Raphael nodded. He felt it, too. "When I'm done with the case I'm handling right now, I'll help her find her family. But for now, I think it's best we keep her hidden from whoever she was escaping from." "Don't worry, son. We'll take care of her," Florence assured him. Raphael nodded in gratitude. "Thank you, Florence." The next morning, Raphael woke early. Despite the exhaustion and worry from the night before, he had to attend a very important court hearing, a human rights case. In the kitchen, dressed in a polo shirt and dark slacks, he sipped coffee while speaking seriously to the staff. "I have somewhere important to go this morning. I might not be home until late tonight," he said. "Please watch over the girl in the guest room. Don't scare her. Don't touch her. Make sure she's fed, given water, and let her rest." "Yes, Mr. Raphael," they replied in unison. "We'll take care of her." Raphael sighed and nodded, then left the house. Meanwhile, carrying a tray with hot porridge, a boiled egg, and warm milk, Florence carefully entered the guest room. Every step was gentle. She didn't want to startle the girl. As she opened the door, she found the girl beginning to wake. Her eyes were still heavy with sleep. But as soon as she spotted Florence holding a tray of food, she jolted upright, visibly afraid, clutching the blanket and trying to hide behind it. Florence offered a soft smile to show she meant no harm. "It's good to see you awake, sweetie," she said kindly. I brought you something to eat. Just porridge for now. Something light for your stomach. The girl didn't speak. The fear in her eyes was still too strong. Her expression was one of deep anxiety, like a bird terrified of being caged again. Florence noticed this, so she sat gently on the edge of the bed and placed the tray on a small table. In an even softer tone, she spoke again. Don't be afraid, dear. I'm not a bad person. I won't hurt you. I won't turn you in. I won't take you back to where you came from. The girl seemed to breathe a little easier, though she remained silent. Eat first, child. I'm sure you're starving. Florence picked up the spoon and slowly brought it to the girl's lips. She didn't resist. As she ate, a change slowly crept into her eyes, from panic to uncertainty, then to slight calm. What's your name, dear? Florence asked while gently feeding her. The girl remained quiet as if she were still deciding whether or not to answer. Erica, she finally said. Florence smiled, a light warmth spreading in the room. What's your last name, dear? Erica didn't respond. She only looked at Florence with wide, innocent eyes. Don't you have a last name? Florence asked again. Still no answer. Florence assumed she either didn't want to say or didn't know. Well, I'm Florence, but you can just call me Miss Flo. Erica didn't reply, but she listened. Florence continued, You're at my employer's house now. His name is Raphael. He's the man who found you by the road last night. He brought you here to help you. Erica looked at her, a flicker of surprise in her eyes. She didn't know whether to believe it or not, whether or not she was truly safe. We don't want to hurt you here, dear, Florence added. We just want to help you. You were in such a terrible state when he found you. If you need anything, just let us know. Erica remained quiet, but eventually nodded slowly. After she finished the porridge Florence offered, the older woman carefully took the tray and set it aside. She glanced back at Erica. Her face had regained a little color. She looked more alive than yesterday. All right, dear, Florence said gently. Why don't you go take a bath? It'll help you feel better. All that sweat and dust isn't good for your skin. She pointed to a door inside the room. The bathroom's over there. Erica nodded and stood up quietly. Every move was cautious, as if she still wasn't sure any of this was real. She walked to the bathroom, glancing around curiously. The white tiles, the mirror above the sink, and other unfamiliar objects overwhelmed her. She closed the door and carefully locked it. She entered slowly, unsure of where to begin. She approached a strange metallic object, a showerhead. She had never seen one before. Back where she was held, there were only buckets and wash basins, often under a watchful eye. She touched the faucet underneath. Suddenly, cold water burst out from the showerhead. She screamed and recoiled in shock, pressing herself into a corner of the bathroom, pale and shaking. Florence heard the scream and rushed inside without hesitation. She immediately saw the running water from the shower and Erica crouched in fear. My God, child, Florence whispered, stepping closer gently. You don't know how to use this, do you? Erica shook her head. Oh, sweetheart, Florence said, turning off the water. It's all right. Come sit in the bathtub. I'll help you. You don't need to be afraid. She guided Erica to the tub and gently poured warm water over her body using a dipper. As she bathed her, Florence noticed the faded scars on her back. I won't ask questions if you don't want to talk, she said softly. But child, it's clear you didn't grow up like most people. Erica remained silent, her head bowed. After rinsing and drying her, Florence wrapped her in a towel. Before helping her into clean clothes, she handed her a toothbrush and toothpaste. Go on, brush your teeth, too. Erica took the brush but didn't know what to do with it. She looked at Florence, confusion in her eyes. You don't know this either? Florence asked gently. Erica nodded slowly. Miss Nancy used to brush my teeth for me, she said in a small voice. Oh, sweetheart, Florence whispered. What kind of place were you in where they didn't even teach you how to care for yourself? Erica didn't reply. Florence walked over, applied toothpaste, and gently began brushing her teeth for her. As she did, she caught a glimpse of Erica watching her reflection in the mirror, curious, almost amazed. To Florence, she was just a child, innocent, deprived of what it meant to live freely, someone whose right to learn had been stolen. After brushing her teeth, Florence dressed Erica in a soft, pale duster. It suited her delicate skin. Florence carefully combed her long hair and tucked strands behind her ears. "You look beautiful, dear," Florence said, beaming. "You're all set now. Come downstairs with me. There are people I want you to meet." Erica hesitated but nodded, softly gripping Florence's arm as they walked down the hallway toward the stairs. As she walked, Erica looked around at the high white ceilings, the polished furnishings, things she had never seen before. Every step was careful, as though afraid to damage the floor beneath her. At the top of the stairs, they were met by several house staff cleaning. Two men stood off to the side. One of them was Raphael's longtime driver, Thomas, sipping coffee, and the other was the mansion's gardener. Everyone froze upon seeing Erica. "My God," one of the maids whispered. "She's beautiful." Though dressed simply, Erica's beauty was undeniable. Her hair was long, her skin smooth and fair, and her face held the innocence of an angel, especially as she hid slightly behind Florence. "Don't be afraid of us," said one of the maids, Liza, with a kind tone. "We're good people here. We'll take care of you." Erica nodded, though fear was still present in her eyes. She looked at each of them, then lowered her gaze. "What happened to that girl?" Ms. Flo asked Nana, another elderly housemaid. "Why does she look so frightened? And why was she in such a terrible state when Mr. Raphael brought her in?" "Yes, Miss Flo," Liza added. "We thought she was just a beggar last night, but now she looks like an actress. You can tell she's got good genes." Florence said nothing for a moment as she helped Erica down the stairs. Once they were on the ground floor, she spoke gently. "We don't know the full story yet," she said as she rubbed Erica's back to soothe her. "But from what I see, she's not a bad person. She's just been through something terrible. Maybe Mr. Raphael felt sorry for her. That's why he helped her." Liza walked closer and gave Erica a quick glance from head to toe, letting out a deep sigh. "Whatever she's been through, I'm just glad she ended up here. Out there with people like her, it's dangerous. Someone might try to take advantage of her." Erica turned away slightly, holding back tears. But for the first time in her life, surrounded by strangers' concerned eyes, she didn't feel the need to run. That evening, Raphael came home from the court hearing. His steps were heavy as he got out of the car, a hint of disappointment on his face. Holding his phone in one hand, he opened the front door and was greeted by the cool air conditioning and the soft light of the living room. He hadn't even stepped fully inside when Florence appeared from the hallway. "Mr. Raphael," she said, hesitating. He glanced at her, his brow furrowed. "What is it, Florence?" Behind her, the silhouette of a young woman was partially visible, hiding timidly in the background. "I just wanted to introduce you to Erica," Florence said, glancing back. "She's the girl you helped last night." Raphael looked at her. For the first time, he saw her clearly. Her long hair, her simple dress, though thin and still weak, her beauty stood out. Her skin was fair, her wide eyes innocent but anxious, her expression uncertain. He stared at her. Now he really saw her face, unlike the night he'd found her unconscious on the roadside. "Oh, it's her," he said calmly with a hint of surprise. Florence nodded and motioned for Erica to come closer. Fear still lingered in her eyes, but she stepped forward slowly. Raphael, however, was visibly exhausted. He rubbed his temples and said, "I'll talk to her tomorrow. I'm too tired right now, Florence." Without another word, he walked past them and went upstairs. His footsteps were heavy. Erica remained beside Florence, clutching the hem of her dress. Florence turned to her and offered a small smile. "Don't take it personally, dear. My boss is a good man. He's probably just really tired today. He just came from a court hearing." Erica stayed quiet and nodded slightly. Upstairs in his room, Raphael sat on the edge of his bed and sighed deeply. He removed his tie and leaned his head back against the headboard. Now I have to worry about her, too, he murmured, referring to the new responsibility that had unexpectedly entered his life. Despite his exhaustion from the day's hearing, Raphael didn't even bother to eat. As soon as he reached his room, he lay down and immediately fell asleep, still in his suit. The next morning, Raphael woke up early, his head still throbbing from stress and fatigue, but work awaited him. After showering and dressing, he headed to the kitchen. As he walked in, he stopped abruptly at what he saw. There stood Erica beside Florence, holding tightly to the edge of the older woman's dress like a child clinging to a parent. Her eyes were alert but full of anxiety. "Florence?" Raphael called. She turned around. "Oh, sir, you're up." "What's going on with her?" he asked, his tone uncertain. "She won't leave my side," Florence explained. "She seems really scared. She had a nightmare last night and came down with a fever." Raphael looked at Erica but said nothing. He turned away and walked to the dining table, taking a seat while waiting for his coffee. One of the housemaids approached and gently placed a cup in front of him. "Thank you," he said briefly. As he sipped his coffee, Raphael could feel Erica's gaze on him. He looked up and there they were, her innocent, questioning eyes staring right at him. He studied her for a moment, then sighed and raised an eyebrow. "What are you staring at?" Startled, Erica blinked and quickly looked away, shaking her head slowly as if she didn't understand the question. Raphael sighed again. "Come here. Sit down." He pointed to the chair across from him. Erica glanced at Florence, who gave her an encouraging nod. Slowly, she walked over and sat down. "What's your name?" Raphael asked calmly. She sat still like a statue, eyes locked on him, but saying nothing. Raphael frowned. "Name," he repeated, lowering his voice slightly. She only looked at him again, then shook her head gently. "No understanding." "Where are you from? How old are you?" Still no answer, just a blank stare. "Do you even understand me?" he asked, now sounding slightly irritated and worn out. Erica looked at Florence, almost pleading. "Sir," Florence said as she walked over. "Maybe she doesn't understand what you're saying." Raphael fell silent and observed her again. Her expression remained blank, though her body was tense with unease. He took a deep breath and asked again in a softer tone. "What's your name?" She blinked once, then smiled faintly. "Erica." "Last name?" he asked. "She doesn't want to say it." "Or maybe she doesn't even know what that means," Florence answered for her. Raphael nodded. "Where are you from? Where's your family?" Erica shook her head slowly. She didn't know. Raphael didn't ask anything further. It was clear he wouldn't get answers from her except for her name. Days passed, and Raphael barely had time to talk to Erica again. He wanted to help, wanted to know where she came from, whether she had family. But his ongoing legal case consumed his days and nights, meetings, paperwork, hearings, non-stop. Pressure mounted with every passing day. New evidence, new witnesses, deeper conspiracies. Even people he trusted in the case began to seem questionable. It was late at night, past 11, when Raphael finally came home. The house was quiet. Only the hallway light and a dim lamp in the living room remained on. He entered slowly, set his briefcase down, and removed his coat. Exhausted physically and mentally, he sank into the couch, leaned back, and closed his eyes, massaging the bridge of his nose to ease the headache. He didn't expect to hear the soft approach of footsteps. Suddenly, a soft voice broke the silence. Raphael looked up and saw Erica. She was standing nearby, wearing a plain white nightgown, probably one given by the maids or maybe one that belonged to his sister, who was currently vacationing in Switzerland for 3 months. Raphael didn't know how long she had been standing there, but she seemed to have been watching him quietly for some time. He raised an eyebrow. "Why are you still awake?" he asked, his voice rough from exhaustion. Erica didn't answer. She simply stepped closer and sat down at the end of the couch, only a few inches away from him. She sat quietly, her face turned toward him, studying his every move like she was trying to understand him. Raphael sighed again. "You should be asleep," he said in a softer tone. "It's late." Erica said nothing. She kept her eyes on him. "Don't you talk at all?" he asked again. Now he was looking directly into her eyes, so innocent, but hiding something deeper, something sorrowful. Then, unexpectedly, Erica smiled. Not forced, not fake, just a small, sincere smile, one filled with gratitude. "Thank you for helping me," she said softly but clearly. Raphael was stunned. He didn't expect that smile. He blinked a few times, then smiled back, albeit awkwardly. "It's nothing," he replied. "Don't mention it." After a few seconds of silence, he tried asking again. "Do you have a family?" Erica's brow furrowed slightly. She didn't seem to understand the question. "Family?" Raphael explained. "Like mother, father, sister, brother, people who love you, who raised you." Erica stared at him for a while. "You know, the people who brought you up. You don't have any?" She slowly shook her head, not because she didn't want to answer, but because she didn't know. "None?" Raphael asked again, his voice gentler now. Another slow shake of the head. This time it carried more weight. "So, where are you from? Why were you in such a condition when I found you?" "I ran away," she said. Raphael's brows furrowed. "You ran away?" She nodded slowly. "Nancy said so. She told me to run." "Then you have a mother. This Nancy, is she your mother?" Confusion returned to Erica's eyes. She looked directly at Raphael but said nothing. "Were you kidnapped?" Raphael asked again. "Why did she tell you to run?" Erica looked down at her wrists. Slowly, she raised her arm and showed it to Raphael. He stared, confused. "I don't know," she whispered. "I just knew I had to get away and leave her behind." Raphael realized she was struggling. "It's okay," he said gently. "You don't have to answer anything now." He leaned back on the couch and closed his eyes for a moment. In his heart, he knew he had just taken on a much bigger responsibility than he'd expected. When he opened his eyes again, he turned to Erica, who still looked deeply saddened. "When everything is settled," he said seriously, "I'll help you find your family." Erica looked at him and smiled again, softly, silently. She didn't speak, but her expression said she understood. Over 2 weeks passed since Raphael last had time to focus on Erica's situation. His hearings were relentless with constant document reviews and no rest. But finally, after exhausting preparation, they won the case. Overwhelmed with joy and relief, Raphael was congratulated by colleagues and clients. Driving home with his junior attorney, Michael Carter, Raphael steered the conversation to personal matters. "It's finally over," he said, leaning back in his seat, tired but content. "Yes, sir." "We won," Michael replied with a small laugh. Raphael closed his eyes and took a deep breath. "But sir," Michael said, flipping through papers on his tablet. "You mentioned that girl at your house, the one with amnesia." Raphael raised an eyebrow. "Yes." "Why?" "While digging through old cases for our defense, I stumbled on something intriguing." Michael opened a scanned article from a digital police archive and showed it to Raphael. "There's a case about a missing girl, 6 years old, who vanished after a mysterious fire at a private hospital. The cause of the fire was never determined. Only one body was found, not the girl's. The report says she was the daughter of a prominent family, the Delvales. They've never stopped looking for her, still hoping she's alive." Raphael stared at the screen where an old photo showed a small girl with long hair and sad, fearful eyes. He couldn't explain why, but a strange feeling stirred in his chest. A chill running down his spine. "What's the last name?" he asked, his tone serious. "Delville," Michael replied. "They'd been a powerful family for years. The girl's name was Bella Marie Delville, but her family called her Bella. Raphael stiffened, not because he was certain, but because the name felt familiar, as if he'd heard it before. Pieces of a puzzle seemed to click in his mind. Does she look like her? Michael asked. Raphael didn't answer immediately, studying the photo, the shape of her face, her eyes, her lips. He recalled Erica's eyes, innocent, quiet, but deep. I don't know, he said finally. But I have a hunch. They're still offering a reward for information about her. And based on what you said about her age, she'd be around the same age as the missing girl. Raphael looked out the window, silent for a moment before speaking. Find out everything you can about that girl, Michael. The date of the fire, the nurses on duty, the hospital, everything. If you can access forensic reports, I want copies. Michael nodded. Noted, sir. I'll get on it. As the car moved toward home, Raphael carried a new mission to help Erica. The night was quiet, broken only by the soft ticking of the wall clock in Raphael's study and the rustle of pages as he read articles and reports about the girl missing for over a decade. His laptop was open, multiple tabs displaying archived news, police reports, and family appeals from the Delvales. In one old photo of Bella Marie Delville, he noticed a detail he'd missed before, a small teardrop-shaped birthmark on her shoulder, a unique family identifier, subtle unless closely inspected. He paused, staring at the image, his brow furrowing. A chill ran down his neck. He stood and went downstairs to the kitchen to make coffee, hoping to ease his unease and fatigue. Entering the kitchen, he saw Erica sitting on a stool near the counter, holding a glass of milk. She looked up and smiled when she saw him. Florence stepped out for a bit, she said softly. I couldn't sleep, so I'm having some milk. Raphael nodded. Okay. He went to the coffee maker, pouring hot water into a cup, stealing glances at Erica. She seemed more relaxed, adjusting to her surroundings. After drinking, she stood and walked to the sink to place her glass. Her sleeveless top shifted, revealing her shoulder, and there it was, the teardrop-shaped mark from the photo. Raphael's eyes widened as if doused with cold water. His heart raced. He couldn't move. Confirming what he saw, he stepped forward and firmly grasped her wrist. Erica, startled, looked at him, fear and confusion in her eyes. Where did you get that mark? He asked, barely believing it. Tell me, Erica, where did you get it? Why do you have it? Erica froze, swallowing hard. I don't know, sir, she said, her voice shaking. You don't remember? Were you young when you got it? Did you have an accident? His questions came quickly, emotions spilling out. Erica shook her head, unsure how to answer. I don't remember anything. Before Raphael could ask more, Florence entered, puzzled by the scene. What's going on here? She asked. Raphael quickly released Erica's wrist as if snapping out of a trance. Nothing, Florence, he said hurriedly. I just got startled. I thought I saw something. Don't mind it. Florence looked at Erica, noticing her slightly reddened wrist where Raphael had held her. Are you sure, dear? She asked, hesitant. Raphael nodded, avoiding her gaze. Yes, Florence. I'm probably just tired. Erica stayed silent, not moving, gently rubbing her wrist. Raphael turned, forcing himself to calm down. But inside, he felt as if cold water had been poured over him at the possibility that this girl, who had appeared in his life so suddenly, might be the child long missing, sought by the wealthiest family with vast businesses in the Midwest. All night, Raphael studied documents, old reports, and photos of the missing Bella Marie Delville. He pieced together every detail, her age, the shoulder mark, her physical traits, and the media interviews where her parents repeatedly said they never stopped believing their daughter was alive. He took a photo of Erica captured unknowingly while she was in the garden and compared it to Bella's picture. Erica's features were finer. She was taller, quieter, but their eyes were identical, the shape of her face, her nose, the faint smile. He no longer doubted Erica and Bella were the same person. The next day, he spoke to his close friend at the law firm, attorney Daniel Heiress. Daniel, I need your help, Raphael said in a conference room. Is this about the girl staying at your house? Yes, Raphael replied. I think she's Bella Delville, the girl who went missing 18 years ago in a hospital fire. She has a birthmark on her shoulder. Same location, same shape. All the details, age, story, even facial similarities match. Daniel looked shocked. Delville? They're one of the most powerful families in the country. Exactly. That's why I need to know if my hunch is right so she can return to them if she's Bella. Unbeknownst to them, a man in a dark gray suit stood quietly near the conference room's open door, overhearing everything. With power and wealth at stake, he was already plotting something sinister. It was late when Raphael drove home, tired and lost in thought, navigating a dark, nearly deserted road. As he neared an intersection, a black SUV suddenly blocked his path. He braked hard. 3 armed men in black, looking like bodyguards, stepped out. Before he could react, the SUV's door opened, and a man emerged, dressed in an expensive suit, holding a cane despite no apparent disability. Raphael lowered his window to address the issue. "Attorney Carter," the man said, his voice cold. "We've heard you're investigating something you shouldn't be meddling in." Raphael didn't respond, stepping out of his car, showing no fear. "Give us the girl," the man continued. "You don't need to know why. You don't need to get involved." Raphael shook his head. "I don't know what girl you're talking about." The man stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Don't play dumb, attorney. I know you know who we mean. You must be mistaken, sir. I have no idea who you're referring to." The man's jaw clenched. "The girl in your care. The one you suspect is the missing Delville heir." Raphael didn't know how he knew about Erica. He suspected Daniel or Michael might be involved, as they were the only ones aware, but he didn't want to judge them. Having trusted them for years, he chose to play ignorant. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Stop pretending, Attorney Carter," the man snapped. "Hand over what we want, and I promise nothing bad will happen to you." He smirked. "Don't make an enemy of me. You're a lawyer. You know my game. You know how quickly people who know too much can disappear." Raphael stayed calm, unfazed. "If necessary, we'll kill you," the man added, his threat clear. Raphael smiled, a confident, fearless smile. "I'm Attorney Raphael Carter. My name carries weight in courts, in the media, and among those who uphold justice. I don't just practice law. I embody it. If I suddenly vanish or end up dead, it won't go unnoticed. You underestimate me, and that's your biggest mistake. You think I'm just another obstacle to eliminate, someone you can silence, but I didn't build this name, this reputation, by being reckless." Raphael smirked, seeing the unease in the man's eyes. "Kill me? Think carefully. I have backups for every move I make. People are watching, and if anything happens to me, you'll be the first the law drags down." Tension filled the air. The wealthy man signaled his men, who nodded and retreated to the SUV. "This isn't over, Attorney Carter," he said, stepping back. "Not all lawyers live long." The SUV drove off, leaving Raphael on the dark